Hi, I'm Suffolk County Legislator Jay Schneiderman, and welcome to South Fork Focus, where we take a close look at issues, events, and organizations that are doing things or affecting our region. So today on South Fork Focus, we're going to be featuring the Longhouse Reserve. Did I guess that right? Mm-hmm. Longhouse Reserve, which is both a museum as well as a botanical garden.
Foundation.
And a foundation and lots of things in the community. Probably one of the best kept secrets, because I'm not sure the entire community is aware of Longhouse Reserve and the great work that you're doing and the great art and flora that you guys present. So I'm here with Matko Tomicic.
Very good.
And he is the executive director of the Longhouse Reserve, and
Yes.
Diane B., who is the president of the Longhouse Reserve. Welcome to the show. It's great having you.
We're happy to be here.
Thank you for having us, and a great job you're doing as a county legislator.
Oh, I
Thank you.
appreciate that. And certainly the county does its best to support the arts and culture, and you are on the list. You are receiving a grant this year from the
Yes.
county, and I'm
Yes.
very happy to have played a small part in that. So, and I know you'll put it to good use. And explain to the viewers what the Longhouse Reserve is, what it does. We should start with you, Matko. What is it? Tell us about the museum.
Well, I think Longhouse Reserve is a space, is an idea that Jack Larson had about 25 years ago when he purchased the property and when he decided to develop it and open it to the public. From the get-go, he actually intended these grounds to be open to the public. There were a number of places in East Hampton, as you know, where the owners intended to do but never completed it. So it was really only that he brought it to fruition. And there today you have 16 acres that are open to the public. Mostly it's in the summer season, but even now in the middle of the winter, if you would like to visit and enjoy the grounds, you're most welcome to call and make an appointment. We will be welcome to greet you.
That's great. Who is Jack Larson? I mean, it's quite a gift that he has given to this community, creating this reserve. And
Jack Larson is an 85-year-old gentleman that was born in Seattle and made his name and money in textile design. He came out from University of Washington, then he went to Cranbrook and came to New York at the right moment, the right time, and came to the East Hampton with, it escapes me name, the gallery owner, Bertha Schaefer. She brought him out here in the mid-50s. And he chose to make East Hampton his home. He bought what was called Roundhouse, which is a property next door to Longhouse. He built that in 1965. And he lived there till 1992 when it was sold and Longhouse Reserve became open to the public.
so I imagine he was quite successful as a textile designer. So he had quite a bit of money that he had built up, and he used it to buy this large piece of property, or some of it, and to endow the museum.
I guess at that time it was...
Oh, but he was smart. Didn't he buy all 27 acres?
Yeah, 16
At the time he bought the land was easier to buy.
Sure.
And he was very smart. He developed 10 of the acres as Roundhouse, and he lived on 10 of the acres while he considered the other 16 acres.
Right.
And then when he was time, and he began to garden and landscape the other 16
Is he
acres.
himself, besides being an artist, is he a gardener?
He's a connoisseur of everything.
Right. He just loves the arts.
He's a really, really interesting man. And, you know, our mission at Longhouse is to demonstrate what it is like to live with art or live in the arts or have the arts be a part of your life.
Right.
So it's not only a garden, it's not only an art collection, it's not only a craft, a collection of crafts. It's not only the architecture of Longhouse, which is absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful building, yeah.
And I mean, it's all of these elements, you know, and, you know, the colors of the flowers that bloom and
Sure.
the art that we choose and that our art committee vets, and everything is of a taste that Jack has established within his connoisseurship.
Do you know how many visitors you have per year in a given year?
We have about 10,000.
10,000?
10,000 visitors.
School groups as well?
And of that, the 2,000 are school children,
Okay.
and school children from Montauk to I think the farthest west would be Dix Hills or
Okay.
Deer Park.
Coming. And visitors from probably all over the world.
Yes, yes.
Now, are
it's,
you considered kind of a world-class botanical garden?
Well, not a botanical garden signifies something that's more purely horticultural.
Okay.
You know, a variety of trees or native plants or, you know. We are, I think if you had to say what kind of a garden, it's more a visual feast or a pleasure garden or that has wonderful world-class art in it.
So it's really that combination.
garden
You're not
art,
just
you know.
botanical, you're not
Right.
just sculptural. It's the interaction of the sculpture
How
and the
it is-
flora
how
that
it's
make
all-
Longhouse special. Is that,
how it's
is
all
that
placed
fair?
together. And I think it all comes from Jack's being a weaver who
okay.
also gardens.
He weaves it,
And,
those two elements
so
together.
it's what you see in the garden is really the texture, it's
Right.
the color, it's the structure of the garden that just comes out, you know, in totally unusual way. Because he's not a plantsman. He's not a guy who would go in the garden and tell you Latin name of if that is a
Okay.
necessity to be a.
Now, who manages, though, the botanical aspects? Because you must have some really great landscape people.
Well, we were lucky that a few years ago, in this transition period when Jack decided that he would like to step away a little bit from day-to-day operations of the organization, as well as the maintenance and management of the garden, we, of course, made a great decision to choose Diane B. and at that time another colleague, Manana Freire, to become the co-presidents of the board. And in the garden, we were lucky to find the Ray Smith, the arborist from Southampton. You see his trucks all over
Sure.
the place. Well, he was like an incredible find, and he basically donates. I mean, it's in thousands of dollars worth
Sure.
of annual maintenance, so that every tree that you see on the grounds, though it may look natural, believe me, every tree was touched.
Sure.
And he plays a major role.
It has to be
in
just
that.
so much
On
work. I mean, I have enough, it's hard work just maintaining, pulling the weeds out of, my lawn. So I can't imagine 16 acres worth of
Well, we do
gardens.
we have a staff, a
Right.
small staff, Some people would think we have, a battalion of gardeners, but we have
Two?
two.
No, it's 5 in the season. It's a
In
dedicated
season.
staff.
Right.
We have a guy who's with us for the last 20 years.
But he does
so,
everything,
you know.
not only that, he does everything. He maintains the house, he builds displays, I mean, he does everything.
Now, things are labeled as you go through the various gardens in terms
Some,
not everything.
Not everything. I think it's that idea of being more spontaneous and walking the grounds. I mean, the grounds are developed as basically a walking tour. It's once you come through that gate, you're in a different world, and you either find yourself or you get lost. And the idea was also basic of show and tell, where yes, not everybody out here has 16 acres to play with, but there are certain parts of the gardens that you can easily replicate at home.
Right. Now, I was there recently because there was, not so recently, but during the holidays, you had a holiday party
Yes.
there that I attended. And I understand that experience. It's almost fanciful. As you walk in, the first landscape almost seems otherworldly, like you're on another planet with the dune formations and these various structures, giant metal bells and other sculptures that just seem to rise out of nowhere. And then you're in a completely different atmosphere, biome, whatever it might, the landscape changes suddenly. Right. So you go right from the desert to some lush garden environment. You have the water features, etc.
Yes.
Well, you know that the dunes that when you enter in, that was Jack's opportunity idea. Jack is a big one for seizing the opportunity. And when Longhouse was built and Longhouse is big. I don't know how many square feet, but it's big. So when they unearthed all that earth, and he was facing these huge mountains of
Right.
dirt, and got an estimate to cart it away, he said, "Oh my God, that's a terrible way to spend money." And it was then that he conceived the dunes, which are fantastic because they allow a completely different way to show the art. And of course, we can grow things in the dunes that we don't grow anywhere else on the property.
Right.
And you know, since we live in a sandy kind of a world,
Environment. Well, it makes sense, certainly out
Yeah.
here, to
Well,
have that.
when he was he was a beach bum. So instead of now having the garden, he can't go to the beach. So he brought beach a little closer to the house.
It
I mean,
certainly
that's the
feels like you're in
basic
another
idea.
world as you're
Yeah.
walking in, and then it suddenly transitions. Can we talk a little bit about the art? Because I mentioned some of the art that's in the sand dunes, but everywhere I go, there's art, and it seems to be a lot of glass work, glass just popping up out of flower beds, etc. So, is that part of a permanent collection, the glass? Or?
The one glass that you are talking about, the popping
blue,
up, is
the blue
those
sphere,
the blue.
spheres.
blue spheres. They are by Del Chihuly, and they are permanent. They are a gift from the artist to Longhouse. And the reason why Del Chihuly is because they were 20 years apart. They share the same teacher at the University of Washington, Jack and Dale. And that same teacher introduced them. They became lifelong friends. And Dale is one of the most generous artists there is. He never forgot who helped him along the way. And Jack was quite instrumental in his career. So that's what you have.
And the first time that Dale Chihuly ever showed in a garden, who ever hung a chandelier from a tree,
Right.
I mean, long before the New York Botanical Garden, long before he hung them over the canals of Venice, he was at Longhouse.
It was
his
in
first
1996.
outdoor
yes.
installation.
No, he's just one artist. There's many. So can you tell me
Well,
about
that
some of
was
the
the-
other
the-
artwork there?
The history of the art at Longhouse came actually when Jack started it. In addition to setting up a board, he also set up this advisory committees of the education, of the arts committee and the garden committee to help him with these ideas, like what to bring in and what not to bring in. And there were many performers who wanted to perform there and create dances. And I mean, we had performances by Bill T. Jones in 1992 and Bob Wilson in 1997. Edward Albee numerous times was doing his readings there. And the obvious, I guess the obvious, it turned out to be obvious idea was that to bring these sculptures and not to own them, but rather to keep them rotating and 2, 3 years, 4 years, so you don't become heavy loaded with the stuff that 5 years from now.
Sure, and it's
will
always
be,
new. For somebody visiting, there's always a new experience, something
and
new
that
to see.
that is the reason.
But
So
there are certain things like the Buckminster Fuller Fly's Eye Dome that has become sort of identified, associated with
Right.
Longhouse.
Who's the artist behind it?
this is that dome.
I know. I
and,
mean, I'm familiar with Buckminster Fuller. He didn't. It's his concept is these types of geodesic domes, but he didn't put that one together. So
he did as a doodle on his on a piece of paper. This dome is slightly different than the Bucky Fuller dome that
Exactly.
you see at Epcot Center or at a few other places. And this one is self-supporting, and it came to us through Bucky Fuller's daughter and a young devotee from New Jersey.
Oh,
who,
that's great. I didn't realize there was a connection directly to Buckminster Fuller.
Oh, yes, yes. I remember the afternoon when she came and she said to me, I was having trouble with the tent we were putting up. There was like a storm coming in the summer. She says, "Oh, young boy," she said to me, "you shouldn't have the tent. You should have this." And then she showed me a picture and put us in.
No, that's
in,
great. Yeah, that's a really extraordinary sculpture.
And we have a few other permanent pieces like Yoko Ono chess set, which was a gift for artists. And
Played by Trust. It's an all-white chess set.
Okay.
And we also have an incredible installation by Solovit, which is something that you come upon in the middle of the woods, and you're not sure if you're in France and viewing this cathedral or
Or a Mayan.
skyscraper in New York, but there you are, and it's really well placed. And
Well,
so,
I'm hoping people watching, if they haven't been, will want to go and see some of these things. Are you open year-round? Is this a good time to go?
now, this time of the year, we are by appointment. They can call 329-3568 or go on our website, which is longhouse.org, and just shoot an email. We'll make sure that they are able to visit. And the season this year starts on April 20th with, hold. I think we're going to have 1 million blooms. But we didn't
Something
count
like that.
of
We don't
daffodils.
count it.
Wow.
But we don't
And
count
other
them.
things. And
Oh,
other
yeah,
things.
million
Yeah.
blooms, but who's counting?
Yes,
So,
yes,
so
yes.
and that's April. You open.
We call our opening day Rites of Spring, and this year it's April 20th.
20th.
And it's a wonderful, somehow we are blessed with beautiful weather at Longhouse.
Well, let's hope that
Usually.
you have it
and
in
that
April.
Rites of Spring, it's like this day where the community comes out and everybody breathes, and it's a wonderful mingling of everything and letting out of the,
Sure.
the new time. And
Well, once you open, then what are your hours come April?
Well, April is Wednesdays and Saturdays, 2 to 5 p.m., and then July and August, it's Wednesday through Saturday. July and August is Wednesday through Saturday, 2 to 5.
So if you
meaning
come
4 days.
If you come to 2 in the afternoon to 5,
Yes.
it's open to the public. Is there an admission charge?
There's a $10, seniors is $8,
Okay.
and the members become a member and enjoy many privileges. And it starts at $75 to become a member.
Give me what are some of the privileges for a membership?
You come anytime you would
Anytime,
like.
there's no
and-
fee when you walk in. If
Right.
you're a
No,
member?
and in addition to that, you get some guest passes. So when you do have guests that you would like to impress with the Hamptons, other than the beaches, because we can't really compete with the beaches here, then
Yes,
you
you
bring them
Sure
to
you
Longhouse, and it's
And
fascinating.
we publish a great newsletter 4 times a year that tells all about our activities and people that are involved in Longhouse and things that are of interest at the moment. And, it's a really nice publication. And we have a holiday party that all our members are invited to. And other events. I mean, we're having an event on March 23rd. That we're calling a sneak peek of early spring for our members. And we're showing a documentary film that won the People's Prize at the Hamptons Film Festival and is about our local farmers, but was directed by an artist who is close to Longhouse, Michael Halsman. The first time we stayed open on every Saturday until Christmas, which we had never done before. And as people learned about it, we attracted a surprising number of people because the garden is beautiful at all times. It's not as beautiful, of course. It's beautiful in a different way. But when you mentioned before world class, the BBC, who does things very well, did a program called Around the World in 80 Gardens. And they selected Longhouse as one of these 80 gardens of the world, and they did the most beautiful, in the late autumn, aerial shots of Longhouse. The BBC does things just right.
Sure.
And it was just the most beautiful thing, and lots of people have seen that and continue to see it. And we get calls all the time from people all over that saw us first on this BBC. So it's beautiful all the time, but it's,
Now, if people want, we've talked about people going and visiting, but if people want to either volunteer or contribute, do you want to say anything in terms of how you can get involved, either as a donor or as a volunteer?
Well, as a volunteer, when we are open, we need people to man the gate, when we have a particular art exhibitions, particularly of smaller objects and things. We need people to guide people and to spread the word and answer questions. And most of all, we need docents to lead our tours of children.
Sure.
And I think, they can range from 10 kids to 30 kids at a time. And there are many of these tours in a season. And it's a huge job. So it's a big effort that we make to educate docents and to make them as familiar with Longhouse so that it's their story and their home too. And we have a beautiful cadre of volunteers, but we're always looking for new people because, as everything expands, so do
Sure.
we.
And if somebody wants to make a financial contribution, they do so, they call the phone number?
Well, you call the office, and I mean, we would like to encourage all kinds of contributions, especially the financials. And we are 501c3, so all the contributions are tax deductible. But there are other opportunities to contribute, not just straight cash, but also name the garden in honor or in memory of somebody.
Or support a program.
Or support a program, or
if somebody wanted to contribute, they
just
would
to call
call.
329-3568 and ask for myself or somebody in the office will help, definitely. That's
Well, let's
no-
take, let's,
And our
yeah, go ahead.
big fundraiser of the year is in July. We're the third Saturday in July, and we have a great benefit. It's not the same old benefit. It's not a dinner under a tent. It's a multi-level evening.
experience.
It's an experience. It's an experience, and each year we are fortunate to honor people that are close to Longhouse, and with those considerations, it yields different kinds of performances and talent. Last year, Philip Glass played the piano when we honored Dorothy Lichtenstein and Robert Wilson. And the year before that, the New York City Ballet danced when we honored Dale Chihuly and Barbara Slifka. And we can go back and in time. And the evening has a theme always, usually a color theme or a native sort of a theme. And everybody loves to dress up to come to the Longhouse benefit. So the people are part of the decor.
That sounds great.
So it's some years it's blue, last year it was white and yellow and black and white. And so this year it's sparkly variations on white, architectural approaches
Sounds
to
great.
white.
Well, Diane, I want to take a look at some of the pictures I brought. And this first image is, and you can actually see it up there, Mako, if you want. So this is the main house, right?
This is the view from the south edge of the lotus pond, and this was shot in early June. And the house was inspired by a Shinto shrine at Ise, which is one of the oldest buildings in Japan and most elegant ones. And
Now, this water feature we see in front of it, is this a man-made pond?
It's a man-made pond, and
I imagine, though, it's supporting all kinds of interesting plant and animal life.
absolutely. And later in the season, you will see it filled with probably with the lotus
It's very
flower.
beautiful.
But yes, we have fish inside, and that's one of
Frogs,
the
very loud frogs.
great features of our actually students visiting there.
Well, this
which
next
is-
photo, this man in the middle, this is Jack,
That's
is he not?
Jack.
This is Jack Larson with, to his right is Molly Chapelet and her sister Luann Wells. Molly Chapelet is the author, and she did our most recent book, a coffee table book
Yeah, beautiful.
about Longhouse, and she's taken
And
thousands of
she is
photos.
the Chapelet of the Chapelet Winery in
Napa
Napa Valley.
Okay. And the other woman in the
That's her
picture?
sister.
That's her sister.
Luann. And as you can see, this
And you
was
can see this is our last benefit, so everybody's in yellow and black and white. And so you see how the people make part of the decor? And of course, we add to it by all sorts
Do
of
you see Jack quite a
innovations.
bit at the reserve, or is he?
Oh,
This is
sure.
his residence.
He does. He lives there?
This is his home, and so
Okay.
therefore the house is not open to the public because it's his residence. I mean,
Will one day it may be open to the public
Yes.
in the future? or-
absolutely, that would be probably a third card in our offering with the gardens and sculpture, and then there will be also the house itself,
Right.
which has a very interesting and valuable collection
Sure.
of objects from all over the world.
Now, you had mentioned earlier a sculpture by Yoko Ono.
Yes.
Right, it's a large chessboard, right?
Yes,
And chess
yes,
pieces.
you see.
We're bringing the image up right now. So all in white. How big is this?
Well, it's about,
It's-
the chess pieces are about 4 feet, or about half human size.
Each piece.
Yes.
Now, do people actually play or just?
We don't encourage it anymore.
No, you used to, yeah.
Right. It was, but
Now, what
the pieces are heavy.
Now, is there something different about it, or is it just a very traditional chess set? It looks very traditional. I know Yoko Ono designed it. Is there anything unique about it?
I think if you,
It's all white.
it's all about
it's all
your
white.
It's all
about
white.
peace.
Of course.
It's called
Peace.
played by trust.
Oh, that is right.
And,
of course.
you know,
yeah.
we
It's all
honored-
white. There's no black checkers,
That's
and
it.
there's no black pieces.
And
so
it's fantastic for kids
it's
to
like
come
the
and
song
visit.
Imagine, right? Yeah,
That's it.
So we
that's-
honored Yoko Ono in 2007.
It's a quintessential
2008.
Yoko
Right, so
Ono piece.
you couldn't go to war, so to speak, with this
No
set.
Right.
war.
Right.
No war.
play
It's
it
a
Very bipartisan. So
very bipartisan.
You know?
Yes.
that's terrific.
That's
Like
it's
you.
Yes.
It's
It's
a-
funny. It didn't strike me right away when I looked at it. I said, "Oh, it looks like a regular chessboard." I didn't even notice there's no black and no white.
It's
But of course,
it makes you think
what
slightly
a
different.
what a statement.
And you see this with little children.
Right.
When you take them on a tour, you bring them here, and then you ask them, "What is wrong with this chess set?"
Right.
And there you are.
What is
We're all,
different?
we're all on the same team. How
Yeah,
about that?
that's it.
That's great.
That's
All right.
it.
So the next picture I'm bringing up, this is a little section of that Buckminster Fuller sculpture.
Yes. Which actually was the original idea by Bucky was to be a two-story self-supporting house on pylons. At Longhouse, it's a sculpture.
Right. I
Because
remember
of
seeing
the-
those designs for housing using
Right.
that geodesic.
And the idea
Idea.
was that when you get tired of the Hamptons, you call your helicopter service. And because this would have been a structure under 40,000 pounds, and then you can just come and pick it up and move it. That
Right.
was his idea.
Yeah, the
of,
kids try to climb on it.
we don't encourage it. We don't.
It's
we
a little
don't.
fragile.
It's it's a sculpture, but it's a great tool for teachers, math teachers. It's fantastic to count the circles.
Right. Now here we're
all
seeing,
kinds of
in the
things.
picture, we're seeing some local artists actually performing inside of it.
That was
Yes.
at a benefit. That was 2 or 3 years
And
ago.
have you had other events take place under the sphere?
Oh,
Is it
yes,
Typical, right? It's
The-
dance
the
performances,
grounds are-
musical performances.
The grounds are used for all kinds of
Right.
performances and talks, and often artists ask, "Where are we performing at?" You say, "We don't
Right.
know. We'll know on Friday if the
Now, I was
performance
there.
on
I saw a
Saturday."
great dance performance there at a fundraiser a few years ago. Great, I think a Russian ballet.
Yes, that was a New York City ballet.
New York City, a really remarkable
That was
dance performance.
fantastic,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was really
It
had
was
all of
really
us
good.
captivated.
With the
Let's see.
birds.
Now we don't have a picture of that. We do have a picture of I think another dance exhibition that was going on there. Maybe this was part of the fundraiser.
Oh, this is
Well,
wonderful.
this was the ultimate performance because of 2,000 children that come and visit, school children with their classes. At the time when we are open for schools, and they do come, especially now in spring. We sometimes in our parking lot we have 4 or 5 school buses, learning of art, poetry, math, science, whatever. In order to fit into the curriculum, we try to help and adjust our tours. At the end of the tours, each child gets a guest pass to bring their parents, but also they submit their works of art, poetry, of anything that inspires them by their visit for our
So
student annual.
We are pretty much out of time. It's really been a pleasure having both of you.
We have so much
And
more to say.
I wish we could talk longer, but
We can
it's
come
a half
back.
an hour show. I want to encourage everybody, if you've never been there, to go and see it. If you have been there, come back because there's always something new at the Longhouse Reserve. And thank you, Mako and Diane. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure
Thank
having
you,
you.
Jay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Jay, for all your help.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.